Elliot Christiansen, welcome to the Preconstruction Podcast.
It's nice to be here.
Brilliant. A little bit of a backstory for our listeners. Elliot is very active on LinkedIn. Some of the stuff that he puts up is incredibly insightful. So anybody hasn't or isn't following Elliot, I'll put a LinkedIn profile in the below. I recommend following his stuff. It's brilliant. It's honest. It's clear. It's concise, and it's to the benefit of the whole industry. So appreciate that, Elliot. So anybody who doesn't know him, Senior VP at Cleveland Construction. I got him on because he loves AI, loves digitization, loves taking the industry forward. And he did a really good overview of his recent platform transition from Procore to Autodesk. So I just wanted to get you on, talk about your background and talk about that transition. But before we do that, let's go back to where it all started. Why was it always construction for you, Elliot, or how did that come about?
Well, it was always construction for me. I worked for a general contractor in the summers when I was in high school, and when I started off in college. And then when I got to the University of Akron, they had a construction engineering program. So I started in that. And then by the time I graduated, I got the job here at Cleveland Construction. I've been here ever since.
Love it. How was the degree, construction engineer, and 4 years? I always like to ask people about their degree because to try and get an insight into how much pre-construction, how much estimating was covered in it.
It was 4 years, very little estimating, just one class. Probably should be something that's pushed a lot more from a conceptual standpoint. I think the industry is definitely going more that direction now, and I think that's something that the schools need to adjust in the curriculum. I'm on the board at Kent State, and that's something that we talk about quite a bit is how to adjust curriculums to better the students as they come into the industry these days.
Yeah, 100%. I'm shouting and championing for it. And in fairness, there's been a lot of good certifications that ASP run. AECE have a certification as well, and small courses. But that quantity surveying like degree in the US is something that I can't understand. The education programs running, or universities or colleges, but also a major player who has 200 pre-con or estimating folks in their staff. Why don't they partner with an education or university and say, listen, we're going to run this program, see how successful, see what the appetite is, and then I'm going to guarantee jobs at the end of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's definitely an opportunity for a big player like a Turner, or Gilbane, or one of these huge contractors in the industry to partner with one of the bigger universities that can definitely facilitate a curriculum like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, when you went into Cleveland, obviously you've been there almost 18 years, very much on the operations side, then a project exec role, and now into VP and senior VP. Give me an idea what you learned through that kind of journey, Elliot, and then kind of lead into where the passion for AI and digitalization and technology and moving the industry forward has come from.
Well, I started out as an assistant project manager, but really in the field, on site in different parts of the country. And what I realized is, nothing's really changed. We've added technology, but the processes have remained the same. And up until recently, within the last couple of years, have we really got the technology that can expedite the process? Adding a tool like a trunk tools with a trunk submittal that can review a submittal for you is one of the first tools that can actually take the work away from somebody. A technology like OpenSpace with a reality capture can drastically reduce the workload on a superintendent from taking still images, having to label locations, and put descriptions on them and upload them to either a Procore or an Autodesk. Now they can just walk the entire floor in 10 minutes, upload that to the cloud, and then we have real time almost progress tracking back in our office. It's those types of tools that have started to come out in the last 3 to 5 years have really started to impact the industry in a positive way.
Yeah, it's an interesting take because we've always been, I think the two industries is construction and agriculture are the last two industries to really get involved in the technology adaptation. Do you think that we now have the technology to be able to do that? Do you think beforehand it was a lack of tech companies or people coming up with tools that we can actually use and save us time?
I think the technology's there. I think there's a really big cost to it. And in the construction industry, especially at the general contractor level, the margins are small. And a general contractor is going to have a hard time looking at, putting 0.1% or more into a piece of technology and not seeing a direct ROI. So unless that technology partner can draw a direct, tie to ROI and help margins, then the technology partner is going to have a hard time selling it to a contractor that's very much bottom line driven.
Yeah.
Um, Especially when we're still at a point where a lot of technologies are very much still point solutions. You're not offering, multiple things that you solve for. Most of the AI solutions are still very much singular point solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course you need the people to take it on board and to be able to use it. How difficult was that? You would have seen that transition within Cleveland. How difficult was it? How how open were people to the change?
So moving from Procore to Autodesk went better than we expected it to go. Now, I think it was because we implemented Procore back in 2015 and people are used to it, and it's really not that much different. Um, the principles behind the program are very much the same. Drawings, specs, RFIs, submittals, everything is very much the same tool sets. Things are just maybe named differently. We took a very deliberate approach to the implementation. We involved the field superintendents, we involved all the project managers in the setup and the implementation and the workflows, how they wanted to see it. We involved them in the building of the forms and the daily job reports and things like that. And then we did recorded trainings, in-person trainings with our implementation partner that we put up on our LMS so that people, as they went on to Autodesk projects, because we didn't roll them all out at one time, could go back and watch the trainings in our own environment. So it wasn't like you were watching it in a sandbox environment that was just everybody in the world would have the same environment. It was very much a Cleveland construction specific environment.
Very good. What was the reason for going from Procore to Autodesk?
It originally was just a cost-driven decision. Procore just had gotten so expensive, and we thought it was time for us to shop it and look for another solution. And when we started looking and vetted out Autodesk, we decided it was very much an equal. And when we got to the point of pricing it, we found out that it was going to be a significant savings over 6 years, and made the decision to make the change.
Brilliant. Because I mean, obviously Procore is famous for its project management. The pre-construction element of Procore is not generally people have other tools that kind of plug into it, and the data continuity and the data being able to flow downstream and back upstream again is proven difficult. With Autodesk, give us an idea of that data continuity and how you guys are using it.
So right now, the first thing we did is implement it for operations because that's what we got it for. We piloted it on very briefly on estimating and pre-construction. It's pretty far along. We don't know that it's 100% there yet for our purposes, but I think we're going to relook at it again later this year, beginning of next year. But we do have it integrated with our box environment, which is what our team shares their files out with all our bidders. But we do use Building Connected. We do use Trade Tab, which are both Autodesk products. Both of those products integrate back with Autodesk Construction Cloud. So we are building it all in one environment. So we're really just missing Autodesk Estimate is the only piece that we don't have. But all of the vendors are all linked between the platforms. So when we pre-qualify somebody in Trade Tab, that same pre-qualification set from TradeTap shows up in the commitment when we build the commitment in Autodesk Construction Cloud. So we don't have to duplicate that information anywhere. It comes right across based on the federal tax ID number. So they have done a good job of linking all that information together.
Yeah, that's the key. That I think you mentioned it before that the single point solutions, having APIs and native integrations, it's proven massively difficult. And when we're in a market now where the data is king, to be able to run it downstream and backstream and see learn from your mistakes is crucial. And we talked as well about Cleveland obviously expanding into different markets. How important is it to have everyone on the one system, have everyone feeding the data in a similar way?
It's extremely important. So we work all over the eastern half of the United States. We go further west for a couple specific clients. Um, so we're constantly hiring people. We're constantly, bringing people on board, and being able to hire a new person and put them with an existing employee and know that that existing employee is training them the same way is extremely important to us. Um, Having a standard system with a standard set of workflows and a standard set of training material has made it extremely, I'm not going to say easy because it's, training and onboarding employees is not easy, but it's made it easier than it had been previously for us. The template environment that we were able to build in Autodesk with all of our documents preloaded into the job so people didn't have to go look everywhere for it and in different platforms has made it easier for the new employees to go find things. They don't have to go to another environment. They don't have to go to Box anymore. They don't have to go anywhere else. They can go into Autodesk and it's all within that file structure. It has made it easier for our existing employees to then show the new employees where to find things.
Excellent. And you touched on something there as well, the LMS part of it, learning management system. Is that embedded in Autodesk or is that something that it's a feature in Autodesk that you just run yourself?
It's a separate platform that we purchased through our implementation partner at the same time that we were implementing Autodesk because we wanted to run our new employee onboarding through it. And then it also had training for Autodesk, training for Microsoft Office, and then we could have our own customized training uploaded to it at the same time.
Lovely. What do you mind me asking what that was? Because I get a lot of people reaching out to me about LMS systems, and basically they try and use Google Drive or Microsoft um, Cloud. What's that? What's the one you use?
So the name of the LMS product is Productivity Now, and it was purchased through Imagine Technologies.
Cool. Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it. Yeah. It's been a lot easier for us to streamline our onboarding. We know what everybody goes through now. We know when they've gone through it. We have different phases of our onboarding. So we have the initial onboarding that kind of gets you through all just the company policies. And then the second phase of onboarding is more role specific. So estimating has a track, project management has a track, superintendents have a track. And then we have a technology onboarding that everybody goes through. So they're all seeing how we use Bluebeam, how we use Box, how we use Autodesk, kind of as a global company.
Unbelievable. I mean, I can imagine that's invaluable. It's something we're going to touch on later about your mentorship and your passion for mentoring people to be able to have an LMS system there to be able to guide them through and almost rotate them through different divisions. Yeah. Just before we head off Autodesk, what are the big wins for you right now that you're seeing? How long have you been on Autodesk? And talk us through some of the biggest wins you're seeing.
So we signed our contract with Autodesk basically January 1st of 25. We launched our first product or projects April of 25. So we've been operational on it for a little less than a year. We're on a point where all of our projects are now in Autodesk. I think our biggest wins, some of our tracking that we've been able to do with our daily job report, that was probably the single biggest tool that I was worried about moving. Procore's daily job report is very good. And we didn't leave Procore because we had a product issue. Again, I told you it was price driven. So I was worried from a daily job report standpoint with our superintendents, would they adapt to a completely different daily job report? Well, what we found out was creating a custom daily job report with more of a Q&A based, format where it has things like, did you have any inspections today? Yes or no? And it's a required question. And if they say no, they're just done with that section. If it says yes, then they create an issue in Autodesk and they track the inspections that they had. We're getting a lot better information out of the system later to know that we had inspections, where we had them, when we had them, and we're getting more consistent information because we have fillable drop downs within those issues. We're
Very
doing the same thing with deliveries. We're doing the same thing with delays, different things like that on the job site. And we've been able to standardize it. And I think we're getting more buy-in from our field teams that way.
brilliant. And then obviously you can go back through the projects in 5, 10 years to be able to look and say, right, we did this particular project, whether it be an automotive product, an education project, and these are the issues that we've had and how we resolved them.
Yep, definitely. And I will say issues in Autodesk for anybody that is, thinking about switching to it is very poorly named. Because issues always sounds like a problem. It's not necessarily a problem. It's just anything that you want to track.
Very good. Yeah, the language is important. I agree. And like getting people up to speed, obviously the elements. And I'm just trying to think from our audience on the pre-construction side, and there will be operations people listening to this. The biggest challenge right now, either in operations or pre-construction, is that transition from one product to the next. You obviously went with a technology partner. Talk to us about the importance of that way, or rather than bringing someone internal to head up the transition.
So we went external to help with the transition because, quite frankly, to do the transition, I knew that the majority of that weight would be on me. And I knew that Autodesk was extremely customizable. I had been told that up front, creating the template project was the single most important thing in Autodesk that you had to think about. If you got the template wrong, you were going to have a bad experience. So, taking that advice, we decided we were going to hire an implementation team that knew what they were doing and really go down that path and be deliberate about how we set it up, and then have them train our people. That turned out to be the best decision that we made because the template got set up the way we wanted it. They went through, they knew what questions to ask us at what time. They got me on phone calls either once or twice a week. We kind of had a standing cadence call depending on what phases we were in. And we were able to get up and running in, 3.5, 4 months, which is pretty incredible if you think about it, launching a whole new platform. When you consider your construction management platform and a general contractor is your single biggest, software outside of your ERP. And we do have it integrated back to our ERP. So we had to move our jobs that were active in Procore over into Autodesk, by the end of 2025. So we had that whole process that we went through too.
Brilliant. Would there be any other kind of must-dos if you were giving advice to someone that's changing from one product to the next?
I would probably not try to do it as fast as we did it because it did kind of take a lot of my focus away from other things. And that was really what I focused on for those 4 or 5 months. And then, months afterwards, I would maybe start looking with 2 years left on your contract. If you think it's going to be something that you make a change instead of just one, that's probably the biggest thing. And I would use it as a time to rethink your processes and not just try to replicate your existing processes, which is what we did. We put our existing processes into Autodesk instead of using it as an opportunity to really, try to streamline things for us.
Yeah, and then that brings into the whole AI conversation about internally. Obviously, there's loads of AI in Trunk Tools and Autodesk, in Procore, all the tech firms. What's the kind of governance or internally with the AI at Cleveland, and especially during that transition? Were you using it at that stage? Was it still in its infancy?
So it's still in its infancy at that point. We kind of rolled out an AI program the end of 24, beginning of 25, and it was essentially guidelines, try to give everybody some guardrails. We gave everybody Box AI. And the reason why we went with Box AI internally was because all of our information is stored in Box. It keeps our information off the internet, which was important for us. We know where our data is. Everybody obviously has Copilot because it's part of Microsoft Teams. So those are our two main hubs. But Autodesk Assistant is embedded within Autodesk, and then we're piloting trunk tools on 4 of our projects. So we have that available to those project teams. So those are our main things that are available to our project teams right now. And that was really what we tried to do is allow people tools, but keep the data safe and not just let it be the Wild West of use whatever you wanted to use.
Yeah, it's the biggest risk out there. It's the one everyone's asking. Talk to me about Box AI. If anybody listening has never heard of it, never used it, what are the good features? What do you like about it?
So what I like about it is the ability to create your own agents within it pretty easily, and then the ability to choose whichever model you want to use. So they're pretty current on whichever OpenAI, Claude, IBM, Gemini model that you have. They're pretty close to whichever one was recently released. They have it pretty regularly. And then they have a sandbox environment that you can go in and you can test your new agent and see what results that you're getting. So you can create an unlimited amount of agents. They have Q&A agents and compose agents. They have extract agents. We have things like a safety agent that searches our safety manual that's available to all of our employees. So they can go in and ask questions about different safety issues on their project. It'll answer it like our safety director. We have an HR agent that'll ask. It's same type of idea with our employee manual. So if they have a question about PTO, they can go and ask that question. We did sync all of our project data back from Autodesk into Box. So every night, all of the data from Autodesk for each project syncs back into Box. We created what they call a Box Hub for each project, and that project team has access to that. And then they have custom agents that we built, different things for like auditing forms, auditing information within the project, scope writing, things like that they can then use on their project data. So it gives us the ability to create our own agents and try different things internally without having to go to an external source.
Right. And what was the reaction like from the staff? Was it like an aha moment going, oh my God, this is incredible?
So we still have the people that don't want to try it, which I think everybody
Yeah.
has that problem. We do have some people that use it all the time. The people that have adopted it to help them write emails, help them write letters, help them find information, I think are definitely moving faster than other people. I think they get more work done. I think we'll just continue to find good use cases to let people try it. And anytime that we can find a good example of how somebody's using it, we do monthly all hands calls, and then we'll have somebody demonstrate that to the whole GC division as kind of a way to inspire people to use things. Last meeting we had one of our project engineers that used Copilot to document serial numbers on appliances in a 300 unit apartment building for warranties. He went through and just took pictures in every unit and had Copilot create the spreadsheet for him of all of the appliance serial numbers for the entire building. What normally would have taken people, days or weeks, he did relatively quickly. So there's something like that nobody else had ever thought of. A 21-year-old project engineer, taught the whole company something new.
God bless the new generation.
Yeah.
Quick question. I mean, obviously at your level, senior VP, do you use it much, Elliot?
Oh, I use it as much as I can. Between Box, Trunk Tools, Copilot, some other things, just trying it just to see what else is out there to try to stay ahead of it, to give other people, tools as we can. I try to use it as much as I can. I have issues that come across my desk all the time, so it's as fast as I can resolve them and move on to the next thing. So whatever I can do to do that, I do. So yeah, I use it as much as I can.
Good, it's good to know. And what excites you? Obviously, we've got through a lot there now. You've made the transition to Autodesk. We're talking about AI. We're talking about adoption. Sorry, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was mentoring. It's a big passion of yours. at Cleveland, bringing in the new generation, giving them the autonomy, like we talked about, the project engineer, 21-year-old, to be able to then be put in front of the whole company to show what's possible. Is that what gets you up in the morning, seeing what's possible?
Yeah, I think it's important. Obviously, everybody in construction hears all the time what a labor problem that we have, and technology is probably the only thing that's going to help fix it. We're going to have people retiring faster than we have new people coming into the industry. So if we don't find a way to optimize the people that we do have, it's going to continue to get worse. Um, and there's finally starting to be some things that are going to help. I think there's some good startups out there that have come up with some good products. Hardline's a voice based AI app that you can add into your phone that you can add to phone calls, and it will take notes all day of every one of your phone calls. And at the end of the day, you'll have basically your to-do list of things from the day. So just things like that you could give to a superintendent that makes 100 phone calls in a day, for him not to have to take notes while he's walking around the job, and to be able to get a quick summary of, hey, here's all the important things that happened today, and here's what you need to work on. I mean, just things like that will become invaluable long term, and it'll make their jobs easier. I think we're going to start to see things where apps come out that call the superintendent when he gets in his truck on the way home, and the Bluetooth automatically connects, and he's driving home after 4 o'clock, and it calls him and walks him through filling out his daily job report. I think those are the types of things that we'll start to see that really move the needle on making people's lives easier and keep the older generation working longer and the younger generation more productive. And I think if you're not doing those things and looking into those things, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, really well said, really well summarized as well. Because from the pre-construction and estimating point of view, I mean, we've talked about it. There's more gray-haired pre-construction and estimating men and women than anywhere else in construction. So if we can get all of that help, then it's a no-brainer to come in. And I have to say that I go to Advancing Pre-Construction every year, and the amount of tech companies there year on year, they're just multiplying. So it's only good for the industry. Well, Elliot, listen, this has been incredible. I really want to thank you for your time. If there is anybody that's listening to this podcast or has listened to the podcast, and you know what, I would love to ask Elliot a wee question about a particular thing that we've discussed. Where's the best place to connect with you?
Probably just message me on LinkedIn.
Super. Love it. Yeah, I'll put the LinkedIn profile link below for Elliot. And if you have a question, feel free to connect. As I said, follow him on LinkedIn. Loads of great value add stuff out there. He puts it out there more or less weekly. And thank you, Elliot. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to following you and Cleveland over 2026.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.